Hello, welcome to Duncan Egg Bricks and to my review of set number 76428, Hagrid's Hut, An Unexpected Visit. Now this is a March 2024 Lego Harry Potter set, which I managed to pick up a little bit early at a local toy shop that happened to have them out. And I've been looking forward to this set for a little while now. We've had several Hagrid's Huts in the past, and I will be doing a quick comparison with the most recent one, and also possibly a future video with comparison with the very first Hagrid's Hut. But anyway, let's take a look, starting with the excellent selection of minifigures. Before the minifigs, I did just want to give you a look at the box. It's a fairly standard box for the type that we've been getting since the rebooted theme in 2018, featuring the Wizarding World logo in the top corner, although I'm not quite sure why they keep doing that, considering Fantastic Beasts is all but dead and buried. But anyway, gives us a show of the minifigures that we get in the set, although I suppose Fang doesn't really count as a minifig. And then on the back, fairly standard, shows you around the back. Now, the thing that I wanted to mention, you can probably see it just peeking out there in the corner, is that even though we are now a quarter of the way into 2024, there are still, at least here in the UK where I got this set, no paper bags. These are all just your regular plastic bags that we've been getting for a long time now. I'm not 100% sure if this is just going to be a localized thing for here, and if in some other regions they're going to actually get the paper bags, but I was a bit disappointed not to get paper bags in this set, nor in the other sets that I managed to pick up a little bit early, so that is a shame. But you know what? That's enough about that. Let's move on and have a look at those figs. I couldn't find my minifig turntable, so you're just going to have to put up with me holding each fig in turn. So first up, we of course have Hagrid, as it's his cabin, but this is a new variant of him that we've not got before. Uses the same set of moulds with the short legs, and then the large body with the arms, and then the regular minifig hands on the end. But this one is printed up, so it looks like he's wearing his apron covered in muck. So the main body uses a dark tan plastic, then with dark red printing on it, and the arms are in dark red, and the colour matching is actually pretty good. Obviously there's a slight sliver of dark tan showing up there, but I think it's a really good attempt. The pockets do look a little bit strange, but I'm sure there are pockets on the apron as well. So it's, yeah, good overall, and we do get back printing, which is really nice. I don't think all of the Hagrids include that. Same hair and headpiece that we've been getting for a while now, just with a single expression. Don't think that's too much of a problem, as you can't really see anything else underneath his hair and beard piece. Next up, we get, of course, Harry. Got to have Harry in these sets. The only new thing I think I can see here is that jumper, which is really nice. It's just a regular green, comes with a second expression like that, like we've been seeing for a while, and his wand in dark brown. Ron here has, again, a new torso print, the dark blue jumper, which looks really nice, again, printed on the back. Comes with his reddish-brown wand, same hair and face we've been getting for a while with the scared expression. Similar story with Hermione. Brand new torso print, again dark blue torso but with the lighter blue jumper underneath, same head and hair that we've had for a while, although I don't remember seeing that face before, so I don't think it's exclusive to this set, but I don't know if I've had it before, and a dark tan wand. This one I believe is the only complete reuse in the set. This is Draco Malfoy, obviously, come to spy on what's going on, and he uses the Slytherin torso, short legs, and then the same head and hair combo again that we've seen before, though that facial expression might be slightly new. Anyway, very similar minifig, and he comes with a black wand. Now, the really exciting bit, other than the new Hagrid, is, of course, two of Hagrid's pets. First up is Fang, who I know some people have said really should have been black or dark brown, and yeah, I can see that, but I think he still looks pretty good here in reddish brown. He's a single mould with some printing there for the face on the front, no other printing anywhere. He is a little bit hollow underneath the head and the body, and he fits over 3 studs, so 1 stud there, 1 stud there, and he has a single stud on top if you would like to put anything else on top of him. They haven't printed any slobber, which is slightly inaccurate, but I think he looks really good, and it's nice to get him finally in a set. And then the other one of Hagrid's pets we get is baby Norbert, or Norberta, and this is a fantastic little mould. It actually reminds me of the recent mould for a small dragon that came with the, was it the last wave of Ninjago sets? Similar sort of idea, slightly derpy looking, but I think it's a really good Legoified representation of Norbert after he or she has just hatched. Fits on a single stud, so similar to some of the birds that they've put out, and then has printing for the eye and nostril on both sides, moulded mouth. No stud on the top or anything like that, and none of the other connections are bar connections, so single stud only, but I think it looks really good, and is a big improvement on the baby dragon that we had over 20 years ago now in the original Hagrid's hut. Then, looking at the set in general, so this is very clearly based on the Philosopher's Stone. It depicts the scene of Norbert hatching, Draco catching them, and therefore is based on the hut from the first two films. Now, if you don't know, there were some quite big changes happened from the second to the third film in the layout of Hogwarts. A number of new buildings were added, and several things, including the Whomping Willow and Hagrid's cabin, were moved. And particularly with Hagrid's cabin, a second little small cabin was added on the side, or I should say a second part to the cabin, and various details were changed. So this is based on that first version. Now there is a second bit to the cabin here, but this is actually a glorified kennel for Fang. I'm not 100% sure if you see this in the film, but it's a cute little addition. Uses very similar techniques in the roof to the main cabin, or with similar coloured parts anyway, and then uses some studs on the side techniques in order to get these rounded shapes around the edge. It's slightly weird that there are actually no studs inside. I don't think you can see that properly, but yeah, that's just a tile in there with no studs, which means that Fang fits in here absolutely fine, but you've got to keep him stable, because otherwise he just, yeah, he's having a nap. So yeah, that's pretty nice, just on an 8x8 round base. But yeah, it's a little side build. I'll just pop the minifigs to the side. Quickly, before we go inside, I'll just show you, these are the spare pieces you have left over, including all of the 4 different colours of wand, still attached to their sprue here, and you do get a brick separator. So, on to the cabin itself. It's one main build, and then you actually get 2 little bits on the side, which are attached by clips, one of which is a very small representation of a pumpkin patch, which is nice, uses one of the moulded pumpkin pieces, and then a plain minifig head. And the other one is a tree stump, which again clips on. Actually, in the instructions, they have you put them this way round, and then they have you put Draco on top of here to look in the window, only there isn't a window. But there is a window over here, so actually I think if you want to represent that scene, it's very easy to just swap them over. Just a little weird that they didn't show that on the actual instructions. But anyway, let's unclip these 2 sections and put them to the side. So Hagrid's cabin, I think, has never looked better detailed. The choice of colours is fantastic. Dark grey, light grey, and then sand, oops, knocking the camera, and then sand green is the predominant colour for the moss on the roof, along with some dark and olive green as well. The way they have you build this roof, these sections are identical all the way around, but I don't think it's too obvious because it is broken up by these smaller sections. We've actually got some really nice colouring down here with the orange and yellow leaves, little representations of mushrooms. As you can see, they've really staggered all these colours to give you a bit of variety. Some of them have, again, plants stuck to them. There's not very many windows around this. In fact, there's only 2. There's one here and then one on the opposite side there, which may be accurate. It's not accurate to the later cabin, but again, that's not what this is representing. Of course, the other detail on here is a chimney, which looks really nice and uses one of these, what I think of as the Monkey Kid smoke pieces, which just sticks in the top there and actually looks really, really nice. The roof is a pretty impressive work. If you go back to the first Hagrid's hut and see how the roof was made there, it was actually made of thick paper or card, which was then held in place with an elastic band at the top. Subsequent ones have all done brick-built roofs, but the majority of them, until the previous one, had 4 sides to them, which is inaccurate, should have 8. And the most recent one, even though it was only half a cabin, did have the correct kind of number. And this one is the first one that's had the complete roof with the correct number of sides. Now, saying that, these sides do vary in size. Obviously, you've got the larger ones here and then the smaller ones here using these kind of spiky tail pieces. That's not 100% accurate. They should all be the same width, as should all of the walls around, which isn't true here as well. But I do see the problem. I am currently in the process of designing my own sort of perfect Hagrid's hut, or perfect for me, using a combination of techniques from this and the previous set, and I do understand the trouble. And to make a set that's actually strong and buildable, I understand why they went for this, and it is a very neat technique. It does get everything arranged perfectly, using a lot of clips and 45-degree building techniques inside. Now, in order to get this open, you have to remove the roof. So it just pops off. You can see underneath it's actually just held in place using a couple of these 3 long jumpers. And then if we spin this upside down, you can get a slight idea of how it's actually constructed. So there's a main base that goes side to side, and that's what connects with the rest of the hut. And then we've got clips on the 4 regular sides, and then we've got other clips which are put at 45-degree angles. They actually use, can I pop this off safely? There we go. They actually use, if you can see inside there, these are 1x2 modified plates with a bar on the end. They're just attached by 1 stud at the rear, and then these 2 inkwell pieces here actually just keep it in place. You can see it really will not move side to side, keeps it at a 45-degree angle. And then inside there's actually some Technic pieces with a brick on the top which keep this top in place, and everything just folds into place. And the way they've done the technique means that there's actually room here, there's a gap where you can attach the chimney on the side. So pretty impressive technique overall. I will say it feels quite overbuilt. There are 896 pieces in this set, and a substantial amount of them seem to go into this. It's a very chunky structure, but I do understand why they did that. Right. Let's get on to the main cabin. I gave you a quick spin around the outside. It's not the most interesting other than the variety of colours, which is really nice. But what we really want to do is open it up. So actually just pop these 2 sections open and we get a proper view inside. Actually uses a couple of different ways to get this all secured. You can see there are some studs showing there, and they actually go into the back of these headlight bricks on the 2 sides here and here, so that secures it in place. And there's also a rail here, and then one of these slider pieces over here, and they just slide together perfectly and stop it from going up and down too much. So that's a nice technique. Inside, the floor is dark tan, which is a nice approximation of either wood or stone, depending on what you want to see it as. Just a slight change from the previous version, which used just regular tan. And there is a lot of nice details in here. So the first bit they have you build is this center section here. You can see you've got Hagrid's armchair, and I think they've done a really good job actually of making a chair that it's possible for a figure that can't actually sit down to sit down in. Obviously it's massive and oversized, and you can kind of see that as like an easy chair, you know, with the footstool that, not the footstool, the footrest that comes out, and he can just lean down like that. I think he looks pretty comfortable for such a rigid figure. This is completely removable, and it's hiding a fairly nicely detailed carpet underneath there, which uses dark red and light bluish grey. Now you should be able to see here, there's a little gap behind there. This is a wedge plate, a 45-degree wedge plate, but then the technique they've used to get the angled walls actually doesn't put them at 45 degrees. It's just a quirk of Lego maths that the hypotenuse, so the diagonal bit of this triangle they've made, is 5 studs long, and it uses some of the relatively new 1x5 plates, and then it just uses these swivel hinges to connect at either end. Does mean there's a bit of a gap, also means it doesn't line up perfectly with the 45-degree angles of the roof, but it does make a very strong connection, so I understand why they went for it. The previous Hagrid's hut used the 45-degree wedge plates that actually allow you to place things at a 45-degree angle, and a combination of that and more swivel plates, which meant for a more accurate build, but slightly weaker. So I think it will be what I use in my own build, but I understand why they didn't go for it here. Either side of the door, you've got some little details of candles, and then right by the door, you've got a barrel, which is the black barrel again, returning from Pirates of Barracuda Bay, and then previously it had only been in, I think, 1 set previous to that. I might be missing something that's a little bit more recent. In here, you've got Hagrid's pink umbrella, which is the same one we've been getting for a few years now. Over here we come to our first major sticker, which shows the cabinet here with a number of different items, including a box of flour. So that'll be for Hermione to find Scabbers in the next film. This is actually attached to the wall rather than to the floor, so that's what gets the angle there nicely. And then here we've just got a mug on a little sort of side table. Bringing the sides in, the next bit that they have you build is over here. Now this has got quite a few nice details. We've got another chair, which is nice, just built up simply on a regular Lego chair with some brackets. Another nice carpet here using dark green. We've got an axe here for Hagrid's duties as gamekeeper, and then another sticker which shows some keys hang up there. Obviously he's the keeper of keys and ground, so that's his entire job in one section. And then here we have the first of 2 of these collectible portraits included. So these, like the chocolate frog cards, are randomized. There are a number to collect. I can't remember exactly how many. Let's have a look in the instructions. There are I think, there's 14. Yeah, I was counting them, and it actually says there are 14 different ones to collect, and you get a randomized set, or a certain number of random ones in each one. They're all printed on these Nexo shield tiles, and they are all this way up. There aren't any that are that way up. So we've got this witch here. Not had a chance to try and identify her anyway, but that goes up over there, and I'll show you the second one in a bit. And then here we have got a very small representation of the fireplace, so that is another sticker there in a 1x3 window frame. And then we've got one of these bowl pieces in front, which is where Norbert's egg would go. There isn't actually an egg piece included with this, which is slightly surprising. There's a broken egg shell, but not an egg in itself. Pink mug up here, and then we've got these lovely little prints, which are oven gloves or oven mitts, because they're not connected, and I believe the intention is that you put them on Hagrid's hands, if I can get them on. It's a mistake to try and do this live. Oh no, I'm just going to pop his beard off. But anyway, the intention is that you pop these on Hagrid's hands as if he's wearing oven gloves, so that he can then handle Norbert's egg, and I just can't get them on. They will go on. The feature of these is that the hands move quite freely, so it's a little bit more difficult, and you do get an extra one of these in the set, which is really nice. So that goes on there. Hagrid can go over there. And then moving on to the final section of the build, like I said before, we get the broken egg, which just uses one of these egg or crown pieces, which I've dropped on the floor. It's actually in gold, which is quite interesting. We'll have to see if there's there is a gold egg because it comes in the Tri-Wizard task. But yeah, it'd be good to get an intact egg as well to measure up. I'll leave that off there for a moment. Our third and final mug in the set, which again is good because Hagrid likes to serve people tea. And then in here we've got some other items. So we've got some wool for knitting, and we've also got what look like some radishes, or maybe they're dirigible plums. And then I said we get 2 of those portraits, and there is the second one. It has you hide it away in there, and this one I can recognize immediately because that is definitely Godric Gryffindor with the sword of Gryffindor. Really nice little print. I actually really like these. You don't get enough portrait stickers or prints in these Harry Potter sets, so I think people will be really happy to have these and decorate their Hogwarts with them, and that's certainly what I will be doing, because I don't think Hagrid would have artwork up in his hut. I don't really remember, but anyway, there we go. That is the entirety of the set. It's an interesting enough build, you know, not super complicated or anything like that, but it's nice to see the techniques coming together, especially the techniques for those angled walls there, and then the roof is pretty impressive at the end. So if I pop everything back together, the thing that I wanted to do is to do just a quick comparison between this and the most recent prior version, which came out, I believe, in the 2019 wave, correct me if I'm wrong, and represents the hut from a completely different film, and as I said at the beginning, a completely different location. But we'll just have a quick look, compare the techniques, and yeah, hopefully in the future you'll see my own custom version combining the two. So here are both huts side by side. You can see they're obviously going for slightly different approaches in terms of the roof and the outside design. We'll say that I've slightly customized the outside of this hut so it does look slightly different from new, as it were. Like I said, this includes both sections of the hut because that's how it came to look in the later films. It also includes a more substantial pumpkin patch. It did not include this scarecrow. I added that. And it did come with Buckbeak, so nice to have another one of Hagrid's creatures. Came with a more regular Hagrid as well. The roof technique, like I said, is very different, and it's actually it's more accurate in some ways and less accurate in others. I'm going to try and come up with a technique that adds both of these different bits together and actually gives you something that's pretty accurate overall. Spinning it round, you can see that it's really only half a hut because it's completely open inside. There's a lot of similar details. So you've got Hagrid's chair right there. You've actually got a fireplace over here, which I much prefer. It has a light brick, or at least it does when it works, that lights up the fireplace. And again, you've got the egg in there, which is really interesting because this is obviously based on Prisoner of Azkaban, which is a long time after all those scenes have happened with Norbert, but I suppose it was just a nice little addition. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see these combined using all the different techniques available. I will do in the future, or I will try and do, a comparison with the first ever Hagrid's hut, which, as I said, used that card roof, but it also had a very unique technique for opening, where it actually used the same 6x6 wedge plates, but rather than having them joined together orthogonally or regularly, they actually were joined together at 45-degree angles with hinges, so all of the sections could open, kind of like a camera lens almost, which is a really interesting technique, and I've not seen them use it since, so I've been experimenting with that. So watch this space for what I actually come up with. Last thing to show you is just the instructions. These are just the regular instructions with the boring white cover that we've come to expect. In the back there are the pieces that you get, and also the list of all of those collectible cards. So yeah, I've got 2 different ones, which is really nice. You can see there's also a Ravenclaw, a Hufflepuff, and a Slytherin one, which is to be expected. There's one which looks a little bit like Magisto from the Castle theme, and then there's a few other different ones. I'm sure people will work out exactly what they are. And the only other thing is this advert for other Hogwarts castle sets. Obviously, this isn't really the castle, but it's castle adjacent. And then in the background, people have been speculating that that is going to be what the modular Hogwarts looks like. So that'll be really interesting. I'll have to see if there's various bits of that I want to try and combine into my existing Hogwarts, or if I actually look at it and go, you know what, I did a better job. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, please leave a like down below. Leave a comment, let me know what you think, whether you think this is a better version of Hagrid's hut than this one, or if there's one of the previous ones that you prefer. As I said, I'll be trying to come up with my own version in the future, so keep a lookout for that. And if you have enjoyed, then please subscribe for future videos, reviews, and various mocks that I'm going to be trying to continue with making. So, thank you very much for watching. Have a good one.